todos, amigos y amigas. Este es el segundo vídeo de los que estamos dedicando al acercamiento a la historia de la sociedad teosófica española. Los que habéis empezado ya a ver la serie sabéis que el primer vídeo lo grabamos con el presidente de la Sociedad Teosófica Internacional, que nos hizo una aproximación a la teosofía, nos hizo una aproximación también a la historia de la sociedad teosófica en general, en la que la sociedad teosófica española está obviamente integrada, y también nos dio algunas pinceladas muy curiosas sobre su evolución. Hoy, en este segundo vídeo, tenemos con nosotros a una persona que también nos va a aportar mucho desde una perspectiva internacional igualmente, que es Kim-Diêu, que es la presidenta de la Federación Europea. Obviamente la Sociedad Teosófica Española tiene un trabajo lo más intenso posible dentro de esa federación, y Kim-Diêu nos va a aportar su aportación tanto de la teosofía como también lo que es el propio desenvolvimiento y la propia gestión de la Federación Europea. Le agradecemos mucho que esté con nosotros, es un placer que nos acompañe y os dejo con ella. Muchas gracias.
We are living in the world which is suffering. Humanity is still suffering tremendously. And any teaching, any wisdom should give a solution to this problem of suffering. Now, Theosophy is known over the world. Perhaps not all humanity, but in many, many countries, it was given as a kind of doctrine and to think about, to study, and to meditate upon. Every doctrine, every teaching, every wisdom should have some use. I mean, in this term, use, I don't mean the use of the utilitarian meaning, but of some help. So, helping in the situation of suffering, meaning to take people out of the suffering. Because these needs are tremendous. The suffering of humanity stays on 3 levels, to make it short. The first level is the physical level. You have ailings, you have sickness, you have solitude, you have all kinds of things in the physical body, suffering. And the second level of suffering is on the etheric, on the emotional level. People feel really lonely and suffers from it. And sometimes they suffer to be abandoned. Look at all the problem of the migrants. They're looking for something, not only the physical survival, but there is something on the emotional level that they cannot bear. And then the third level of suffering is intellectual and spiritual level. Meaning that the human soul, spiritual soul, the human spiritual soul is suffering from a state of ignorance. We don't know really where we come from, where we are moving, towards what we are moving, and all we know is we were born at a certain time, we have grown up, and then we have to die at a certain time. But then the rest, I mean the gap of time before birth and after death, we ignore totally. And even between birth and death, we ignore how consciousness is functioning. Meaning that we ignore ourselves, who we are, where we come from, where we are moving towards. Meaning that this is, for me, the biggest, the greatest, and the most serious suffering that humanity has to undergo for the moment. So it is quite natural that humanity, the human soul, looks for a solution. And every serious teaching called wisdom should give a solution for that. And Theosophy offers to humanity this type of teaching, with the condition that when a person understood to some extent, this person has to apply and to practice, because it is like in some cases, we give the example, we cannot feed the person. We can give the food, but the person still have to take the food from the recipient to his or her mouth. We cannot feed by the spoon. So the wisdom of Theosophy means that the suffering is there, humanity has to be solidary, and we are in the position to offer this to people, the means to study, to understand, and to go out by their own effort, to go out of their problem of suffering. We don't offer, Theosophy does not offer this kind of salvation for another one. We don't admit that. Everyone has to work for his or her own salvation. And this is very, very big. We call it, we don't need vicarious atonement. We don't need intermediary between somewhere a superior being and us, meaning everyone has to work to his or her own salvation. This is the first point. The second point is that the wisdom of Theosophy offers to everyone. There is no distinction of a man, a woman, a black, a white, whatever, but with no distinction of whatsoever. You look at the first object of the Theosophic Society, you can see it is a wide fraternity, very wide. We call it brotherhood. Why brother? Some people would say, why not sisterhood? No, because it is, we have no distinction about sex. Why you, right from the beginning, you write brotherhood and sisterhood? It is a brotherhood, meaning we all came from one parent, one source. So I will insist upon this point because the fraternity that the wisdom of Theosophy offers to humanity covers all kingdoms in the existence, meaning it does not cover only humanity, the humans, it covers the animals, the plants, the rocks, and also invisible beings. It sounds like a little bit curious for people that we talk about invisible beings, but they are there, sharing the earth with us, and all the beings over the universe. We would like to have a fraternity of all beings existing in the universe, and starting with humanity, because we cannot say we share the fraternity with the angels and we forget the humans. We start with the humans, but this fraternity will cover a larger, wider space and scope. Now, if you ask, in life there is not only suffering, it is also joy, it is also pleasure, etc. Yes, it is not deniable that there are all these things, but the mainly thing, when you look at the problem of humanity, it is a problem of suffering on the three levels. And the last level, which is the third, is the most serious because of we ignore our nature, we produce mistakes, and the mistakes will produce other mistakes, and we are in a kind of invisible prison, but always putting us in the position of absence of freedom. We think that we are free to act, but we are not, because of all the consequences in the past. So the first thing to learn is to get out of this ignorance. And this is the main point, and I think the main purpose for the creation, the foundation of the Theosophic Society, who is now caring as a house, the main home for Theosophy. Theosophy is a large compendium of knowledge, but this knowledge should lead to wisdom. Otherwise, you will produce more academician, more, I would say, scholar on the discipline. But they are very good, but it does not contribute to help by solidarity the whole humanity to move out of the big problem. And this problem we are going to have it on our arms in the future, always. It starts already, but we didn't see. They started, but we didn't see. Now we discover that. And I think that Theosophy is this wisdom which is based on this fraternity. If I don't want to go deeper, to use big words, but the fraternity is enough to start with. And when one understands something, understood something, one has to share with the others. This sharing is very, very precious. It is essential because it is like you eat a good meal. You do not want to eat alone. You share with your friends, starting with. And now it is a kind of, you have experienced this delight of wisdom brought by Theosophy, and you have tasted it, you have experienced it, you have benefited from it. You cannot benefit alone. It is just like that you have to share. And all the manifestations like School of the Wisdom, seminars, the Congress, are just expression of this good willingness to share, to bring together people, because loneliness created by technologies, by selfishness, would separate the people more and more. And if people don't meet together, they cannot understand. They have to meet directly without an intermediary of technology. We use technology, but we don't use technology to meet together, to come together and to discuss. We use technology as in this Congress, but it does not help us to come together and understand each other. We have to meet directly, soul towards soul, and understand from the heart, through the heart. Otherwise, we will go astray, talking, thinking, giving much speech, and without having any results of helping each other to get out of the common problem.